everybody. I wanted to check in with all of you and not only kind of get the week started, but also really get a new part of our class started and moving forward as we go into this final week before spring break, because don't you know we need a huge break after, having been isolated for weeks. Anyway, what I've written on the board back here is that we're going to be putting the BC in BC Precal. I think I told all of you before we left, we had this kind of backlog of topics that we had kind of talked about before the ACT, but we didn't really get to work through all of the problems. And so a lot of you were able to work on most of these assignments. I kind of taught you de Moivre's theorem and some of the cosine I sine stuff ahead of time. We had already talked about arithmetic geometric series prior to the ACT, and we've really just been kind of finishing those things up through the last 7 class periods of non-traditional online instruction. As I had told you all before, this course was basically designed to be 3/4 of traditional pre-calculus, and then basically the last quarter would be the introduction into BC calculus topics. And specifically, a couple of things are going to be happening moving forward. Number one, the long-term goal is to actually get a start into hopefully the first 2 units of the calculus book to get us partly into the year, and next year allow us to do all of Calc 1 and all of Calc 2 in a year that doesn't kill everybody, that we don't feel like we're rushing, that we don't feel like we're having to cram things in. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get quite as far, but hopefully we'll be able to get a decent amount of the way in. I think you guys will like those introductory topics. If you're worried about them being overly challenging or that sort of thing, you really shouldn't be. They're great chapters to work with. The calculus book we use is fantastic, and I think in the grand scheme of things, you really enjoy these sections probably a lot more than pre-cal, quite frankly. I always enjoyed calculus a lot more than I enjoyed pre-cal. We're also going to be looking at some topics that are specifically part of the BC calculus exam, but not part of the AB calculus exam. And so as a result, these are some topics that connect to some things in pre-cal that just often don't get done in a lot of schools' pre-cal courses, or in some cases don't come up at all in pre-cal, and they're things that we need for BC calculus. The first thing that we're going to be taking a look at is the idea of partial fractions, which is going to seem very much like an algebra concept, and is an algebra concept. It's a concept that's supposed to be taught in a pre-cal course. The use for it is not going to become super apparent until we start doing calculus topics. So my calculus class, for example, has seen that partial fractions are really, really useful for a kind of integration that we're going to be doing. So that's kind of one of those topics you just have to say, I'm learning this so I can do it well next year. After that, we're going to continue working with series. Series are one of the really big topics on the BC calculus exam, and this is a topic that we will go into very in depth. It's going to grow out of what we've been doing with arithmetic and geometric series, probably more so with geometric series. The techniques that we're going to be using are all algebra-based. Some of the things we'll look at have been proved using calculus, but obviously we're not going to be able to look at those things yet. This has been really helpful. For example, my BC calculus class right now is finishing up the calculus version of series, and the fact that they've seen most of this previously in pre-cal is really, really helping the process as we finish up this last topic in the calculus course. So not really working ahead, thinking that we're not going to have 2 months of school next year when AP time rolls around, but just trying to give us another subject that we're a little bit more comfortable with when we get into calculus. So again, laying the groundwork here for a really positive BC calculus experience next year. I'm really excited to get into this part of the year because, again, these topics are all things that get built on next year, and it's going to make the senior year BC calculus process move very, very smoothly. So hope everybody's doing well. Hope you had a good weekend, and hope you're looking forward to the upcoming weeks of class. We're going to learn some really great stuff. So see you in the class videos.